Hi everyone, welcome to the Bourbon Obsessed Bourbon and Distillery News Podcast, your commercial-free and money-free bourbon podcast for Monday, July 14th. I am Ed from BourbonObsessed.com, also known on Instagram as Bourbon_Obsessed. I publish bi-weekly newsletters featuring the latest bourbon news and releases, and also do this podcast version for your listening pleasure. We skipped last week because of the holiday and my wife's anniversary, so we've got quite a few news stories this week, and we'll jump right in after just a little bit of small talk. I am again joined by my friend and bourbon aficionado, Dean Langdon. Dean, how are you doing on this hot summer day after it's been a couple weeks?
It's been a couple weeks, doing very well. I know you and your wife enjoyed your anniversary, and probably had a bourbon or so on that venture. So
yeah,
but it's been a good week. Bourbon news is all around us, and can't wait to share it with our listeners.
Yeah, and of course there's other big events coming up this week, like my birthday.
Well, I saw the billboard you got for that. Yeah, it was great. It's great.
Well, it's in all the papers.
Yeah. So Ed's going to be 49, everybody. So
yeah,
you got to help us along
for the 13th time.
Yeah.
Why did you make me 49 instead of the 29 or something that it's supposed to stop at?
Well, no.
It's got to be realistic.
Gentlemen have to have enough gravitas, right? And so when you get to 49, 50, it's like, okay, now we found our place in the world.
We're distinguished.
Exactly.
Gray-haired, no hair.
That's right.
Whatever.
Right. Yeah. Gravelly voice, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Right, so.
And on that note, we will move on to our first story. So, Jackie Zykan and Royce Neely have announced Jackie is stepping away from Hidden Barn Bourbon, and Neely Family Distillery will continue production of the brand. Jackie Zykan created Hidden Barn Bourbon in 2022 in partnership with Royce Neely and Nate Winiger, and served as its master blender. Jackie will stay involved with Neely Family Distillery by supplying some of its herbs used in its award-winning absinthe via her new agricultural venture. Meanwhile, Hidden Barn Bourbon is continuing to grow, moving into its 20th state for distribution, and they've been doing great. They win awards all the time.
Well, I noticed their absinthe won, I want to say, a double gold, maybe?
3 of them. It's got platinum at San Francisco by winning that. It's the only absinthe to ever do it, and certainly the only American absinthe. So, it's pretty incredible.
We know we've got an audience of whiskey drinkers, but that's great for a small craft distillery like that to get a platinum from that organization. So,
but they had one of their bourbons that won best bourbon, or it was either best in class or best bourbon last year. Or the year before, I don't know. The years are all a blur, but it's very recent, one.
And so for that distillery, again, the craft distilleries can do very well in those competitions.
I didn't even realize I'm wearing that shirt.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, we got Neely family all over today, folks. So.
Well, I've been a big fan for ages. Long ago with Steve Akeley's ABV network, I used to be on the barrel naming committee because we used to name all the single barrels that they sold in the gift shop. But then, like everything, COVID put an end to that. But that that was a lot of fun, getting together and coming up with the names for it based on what it tasted like.
Well, and not to promote other podcasts other than ours, but are they still doing the ABV podcast? I remember listening to
them. They have
good.
Quite
good for
a few
them.
things.
So.
Yeah, Steve has a whole empire. He's got a bunch of videos. I mean, movies, features.
Oh, neat.
Actually, there's a recent one is on Neely Family Distillery. As a matter of fact,
it's great.
No, he's got quite a bit going on.
Yeah. Well, I think this. I don't think this will hurt Neely, and hopefully it won't hurt the brand, because Jackie's still got a connection to the distillery. But Jackie's doing not only herbs, but she's got a perfume business.
Yeah.
I noticed, and I found it.
They're the bourbon-themed flavors.
Bourbon-themed perfumes, but on the website, her website for those perfumes, the name of one of them was Dead Horses, and I'm going. Marketing department might need to rethink that.
Well, she may be her own marketing department.
Not taking anything away from anybody.
That is an unusual name.
Struck me as an unusual name for a perfume.
But there had to be a story. Was there a story behind it?
I didn't drill down any further than that. It caught my eye.
See perfume wearers being attracted necessarily
to dead horses.
Or maybe they are. I don't know.
It's a very select group, I think, but. Anyway, so there's another giggle for folks. Go find that. Go find her.
Well, there's got to be a reason, because I'm assuming she had a reason for naming.
I'm sure she did.
That,
yes.
not
sure.
for a shock factor.
No.
So. Anyway, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the brand. I mean, I assume the flavor profile will stay the same. They've had enough experience working together to stay on track. And
right.
I mean, before Jackie, Royce was doing it all, and
yes,
and Becca is blending now as well.
Oh, good.
So I think they'll have it covered.
They've got the process down now, and they've got the same people doing it. So I know Jackie was. If you're a master blender and you create the blend, once you do the blend, right, it becomes relatively simple for others with some knowledge to recreate that.
Well, but it's always going to be different, because they're all going to be small batch. I think they're pretty small batches, and,
right,
and they're coming
just a few barrels, if I remember correctly,
from pot stills, which are going to be more variable in the first place. So it's hardly going to do it itself like.
No, I get that. I get that. But Royce and Becca sounds like have been around.
Oh yeah,
doing it themselves, and so. I'm looking forward to them continuing to grow that. Hopefully they'll end up with a nationwide distribution and a well-established brand.
Well, the bonded one that they recently released, I don't remember if that's under the Neely label or the Hidden Barn. I think it may be under the Neely label, but Becca's the one that actually blended that. And it's really good. So
I'll have to try that one. I haven't done that yet.
So. I have faith that they will continue to do a very good job.
We want them to, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. What's next?
What's next is Whiskey House of Kentucky, who we've talked about quite a bit in the podcast, has amended its $115 million syndicated credit agreement to provide additional capital and increase flexibility in accessing new sources of funding to support the company's growth. The capital will be used to enhance value-added services for customers, including storage and aging, and to provide greater flexibility to meet customer needs. All other key terms of the agreement, including pricing and amortization, I said that correctly, amazingly, remain unchanged.
Yeah. It's interesting to see news about a financing deal or a credit deal in bourbon news. And folks probably remember, but Whiskey House is just, a producer. They don't have their own brands. They're just distilling for other people. You give them your mash bill, and they'll make it for you. I think I saw on their website they did like 11 different mash bills over the course of 2 weeks, which is pretty impressive considering what you have to, the changes you have to make for a different mash bill and all of that. So
we could look back, but in one of the other press releases it says how many barrels they made their first year and how many different mash bills.
97,000 barrels,
and a lot of mash bills. I mean, they're very high tech, and they're that's what they're set up for.
So I found it interesting that this is a big enough loan so that banks get together to make it. It's not just one bank that loaned them this $115 million, but the one bank sort of spearheads it, and that's Truist Bank, which is the same bank that loaned money to Garrett County Distillery.
Yes. I recognize that as well.
So they're going, okay, well, here they got burned
and
on this one.
And I'm pretty sure, isn't Luca Mariano in that one too?
I think they are. Yeah, I think they are, but I'm not sure about that either.
Truist has been involved in many of these distilleries.
They have. I think what that speaks to is the people behind Whiskey House, which are some of the same people that founded Bardstown Bourbon initially, have some excellent credibility, as they should.
Yeah, no, they definitely have a name.
And the banks are more than willing to come together and fund what they're trying to do. So,
but this does come on the heels of the last two. I think they've been in our podcast at least every news one, if not every other.
Yeah.
But there was the one about the lien from Busick Construction, and then there was the one about them then switching their warehouse contract.
Yeah.
So then on the heels of that comes this, which is providing greater access to capital. So, it sounds like it's all working itself out, but...
Yeah. And I couldn't tell whether this was like an increase in the amount of the loan or not, or if it just... I did see that it stretched it. It originated like a year ago, and it's a 5-year term, so it could just be that it was going to mature in a year, and now they've got them to extend it for another 4 years based on performance and things like that. Again, it's not specific about that.
It was on a prior. It might have been before we did the podcast, but I remember having the press release out when they got some of their initial financings, okay. Or maybe that was the one that provides credit to people that want to contract distill with them, because there was the stories about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're doing a lot of financial discussion in this, because it's the majority of the news, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, a week doesn't go by that there's not something that's involving finance in one way or another.
No. One of the things I thought was interesting about this before we move on was one of the lending banks is a company or a bank called CoBank, which is connected to, I believe I'm correct here, the United States Department of Agriculture, and just makes agricultural loans. Mm. And so I think that's an interesting twist in that you've got what is, in my mind, an agricultural lender participating in this loan to Whiskey House, and it's partially an agricultural process, right? They're using grains and supporting farmers.
I mean, it's considered an agricultural product, which is why it's under the College of Agriculture at UK, the Beam Institute. So, yeah.
Yeah,
glad you brought that up. No, that's an interesting point.
That's an interesting point. So for all the finance geeks who watch this, all one of you,
Well, moving on. So our next story is a positive note for the alcohol consumption world. So despite recent narratives suggesting that Gen Z is abandoning alcohol, new research from the IWSR, and I looked up what that stands for, and it used to stand for something, now it just goes by IWSR, so that's their name, shows that legal drinking age Gen Z consumers, generally those born between 1997 and 2012, are increasingly engaging with alcohol again. According to IWSR's BevTrack survey, the percentage of Gen Z consumers who reported drinking alcohol in the past 6 months rose globally from 66% in April 2023 to 73% in March 2025. In the U.S., participation climbed from 46% to 70%, with similar gains in the U.K., although we were really low, at 66% to 76% there, India 60% to 70%, and Australia leading the way with 61% to 83%. The cohort also shows greater interest in exploring different drink categories, particularly spirits, and is more likely than older generations to return to consumption in bars and restaurants. While the broader alcohol market faces pressure from economic constraints and increased moderation, Gen Z's renewed involvement may signal shifting trends. So this is not surprising, because we've talked about it. Everybody's talked about how these trends go, and they were never really that off base. It's just the sky is falling thing.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, consumption is down in a couple of big markets, the United States and China, and that's more for economic reasons, I think, than anything else. But, Gen Z is the generation that's starting to get into higher wage earning years and have more disposable income. And quite naturally, that's when you start, if you're into spirits or just alcohol, you're going to start experimenting more because you've got a little bit more free money to spend. I mean, I think that's what this is, but it's still encouraging if you're a spirits producer.
Well, and they're really just getting into it, because half of them still can't drink. I mean, 1997 to 2012 is what they're...
Well, 97, you'd be 28
now. 2012...
So. Well, that's true, yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to count on them for consumption, you got to let the rest of them grow up.
Right.
But, even the ones born in 97 are not at their peak earning years, but they're definitely starting to get out into the workforce. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, and COVID, while it had certain generations drinking much more, it had other generations drinking much less.
Right.
And, people, the Vine pair on their podcast, they were talking about it, and they raise a good point, how it just sort of delayed them. So, when you first start drinking, it's not like you plunge right into drinking whiskey. You're going to drink all the sweeter, lighter things. You're going to drink, nowadays the seltzers and,
ciders
people still drink beer and, things like that before you get into that spirits category. So, I mean, they're just, just take like 4 years out of it and put them where they, it set them back. Yeah. So,
and it's interesting that I
think everything's just doing what it would do.
And they're not, unlike COVID, they're not drinking at home. They're what I think the article called it on trade sales, but they're going out to bars and restaurants to do their drinking.
Apparently more than we are.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean.
Well, that's true though. I mean,
I think that's an age thing too. But
yeah, I mean, I went out 7 nights a week back in the day. Now,
hats off to Ed, because I was only going out 4 nights a week, folks. I'm going to say that I was responsible out of this duo.
No, I'm not up past 7 nights a week.
But that's encouraging news again for our whiskey producers, our bourbon makers here in Kentucky.
Yeah,
get to those markets, because it's India and Australia and places like that are your growing markets. So
and that was another point raised by, it was either on their podcast or was in one of the other articles, how the other thing is marketing hasn't changed. Like marketing for whiskey and things like that is still for people that are older generations than this. Right. So if you want these younger people to consume your products, you have to change your way of thinking for the targeting of the advertising. Right.
Well, we saw that maybe a month ago. Jack Daniels had a new ad campaign that was geared more towards Gen Z, and you just have to do that if you're a producer to get to that market.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So I think all will be well. I mean, I don't think we'll drink what people drank during COVID.
There'll be some older stocks, right? That's all will happen. We'll just have more older stocks eventually. So
older stocks at lower prices for the most part.
All good.
Next week we will see the large variation in that when we go through the currently 21 new releases that are on our list for next week, and it's not even quite next. It's just starting next week. So, yeah.
We're not letting you take another week off.
Well, I'm going to be quite the trooper getting the newsletter out the day after my birthday, as it is. So we'll see. All right. So moving on, our next story: J. Mattingly, 1845, is purchasing. So the company is purchasing the equity ownership of its founder, Jeff Mattingly, leaving 100% of the company's ownership with an investment entity controlled by Andrew Varga and Carl Cordova of Gold Corn & Co. Cameron Mattingly, Jeff's son and vice president of production, will remain in his role overseeing bourbon making, blending, double staving, and which is their trademark technique, and custom bottling. All other employees will remain in their current roles. So doesn't sound like too much is changing except the funding, basically, and I guess Jeff is just retiring and enjoying.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a founder exit, is what we call it in the startup world. Is, hey, you found somebody to buy your company. You either stay involved or not as they want, or you'll negotiate that. But you've made a successful exit. He's created a job for his son, and for other people who are going to stay on. That's a success story. And this group invested some money, I want to say back in 2023. So it didn't just come in out of the blue. They're not sort of swooping in and taking
Oh, no, they're just buying the rest now.
Exactly.
They had purchased part ownership. Yeah, I don't remember what year that was, although I'm fairly certain I have that press release in somewhere on my website.
Pretty sure that was 2023. I think I saw that in some of the digging I did. But I didn't know who Andrew Varga was. And you may know who he is, but for our listeners, he worked at Brown-Forman. He was chief marketing officer at Papa John's at one point. So he knows the food and beverage industry and has been in it for years and years. And so I think that's a great person to have take over your company if you want somebody to come in and take it over. That seems like those are in good hands, if you will.
Well, and we were just recently, up at Mattingly, and we have a recent podcast for anybody that wants to listen with their president, and they are really on the right track, I think. I mean, I really liked everything that that we tried there. They have a great visitor experience. They have a nice bar there. You can do your blend your own experience. So I think they're completely heading in the right direction. So, yeah, I think they're going to...
I agree, and I like the... I mean, they don't... Do they distill any of their own product?
They distill, but at this point, I don't think
they're releasing any of it.
Because they want it to be at least 5 years, I was told, so it's not in anything at this point. And then
they are excellent barrel pickers, if you will, and then they're not just picking barrels and bottling it. They've made it a really great experience. I mean, I watched that the video of the visit you all had, and it was really neat. And I've been there myself when they first moved. They moved to a new building a year ago, maybe a year and a half. Really neat facility, and just like you say, they've got something that I don't know that anybody else is doing exactly that.
No, it's very cool to do your own blending experience, right? And they're definitely not just taking barrels and throwing them in bottles. They're blending, and then they're doing their double stave technique, which is their wood finishing technique. So they're putting their personal touch on everything. And as we've talked in the past, that's what I believe will be successful for people that source at this point. The days of just buying things and putting it in a barrel, unless it's
with your label,
the buff turkey or the older Bartons, which people are still grabbing up at high prices. But in general, that is not going to be the
not gonna
best
do it.
Business model.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have more than a label. You got to have an experience, and they really, like you say, the double saving is. You could argue that, I mean, Dixon Dedman sort of does that with his double oak, but he's using these oak necklaces, not really staves. And you could argue Maker's Mark is doing that, right, with their Private Select, where they've got different staves
they
in the barrel. But you can't then go blend that yourself. That's the big difference.
No, it's very cool. And, for anybody wanting to visit, they're right across the street from Buffalo Trace, so couldn't be more convenient if you want to do another distillery in the same day. Easy to do. All right, so next is Brendan Coyle, who played a pivotal role in transforming High West Distillery from a blender of sourced whiskey into a respected producer of its own distillate, has officially left the company to focus on his new venture, Dendrick Estate Cider Company he founded with his wife in Camas, Utah. At High West, Coyle oversaw the transition to in-house distilling, which is still often blended with sourced whiskey for many of their products, the 2015 opening of its Wanship facility, and the launch of High West's first fully self-distilled whiskey, High Country American Single Malt. Now stepping away to concentrate fully on Dendrick, which will release its first cider, in July, so I guess now. Coyle leaves High West in the hands of Director of Distilling Isaac Winter and Director of Sensory and New Product Development, Tara Lindley. And I guess it doesn't actually say in here, but he's a master distiller there now. So it's a big shift.
Yeah. I mean, that's he got that, really helped make them into what they are, right? The whole starting your own distillation. I'm sure he had a role in, working their own distillate into other people's products. And so it'll be, it's an interesting sort of moving outside the whiskey world, if you will, into more, fermented products rather than distilled products.
Well, it sounds like they plan to distill in the future, and one of the first things he's going to make is going to be, I don't know if you can call it this or not, I don't think you can, but a Calvados style.
Oh, okay. A distilled product, anyway. Yeah.
Okay. But I don't think, isn't Calvados protected?
I think Calvados
region?
is, yes.
Yeah.
I think comes from a region. But so
apple brandy.
right. A brandy type product, but still that's getting beyond the fermentation into, you need a still to make that. You can't just do it with...
So it'll be interesting. And I guess that's not that far from High West.
Yeah, I got the impression it was, half an hour, within half an hour. So, hopefully, and I saw that he's eventually wants to open, the restaurant, the tasting room, that kind of stuff. But I think that's like 2 years off. So, a work in progress, but a good one, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely wise not to do everything at once, because we've seen that attempted a number of times.
Yes, and not gone well.
Not usually. Well, all right. So next is another story from High West. So they've partnered with actor and musician Luke Grimes, a passionate outdoorsman and whiskey enthusiast, to advance its Protect the West initiative, aiming at preserving the landscapes and natural beauty of the American West. Grimes joins as a brand ambassador to help raise awareness for the program, which has donated over $1 million to nonprofits focused on land preservation and environmental stewardship. The partnership launched on June 20th, 2025, with a summer solstice sweepstakes, offering fans a chance to win a trip to Park City, Utah. The sweepstakes runs through July 25, and I can tell you the URL, but it's probably better if you just see it in writing.
Go to the website and click on the link.
It'll be,
there you go.
Yeah, their website or our website, and click on the newsletters link, and it's in there as well for the official rules. So, but that runs till July 25, so there's plenty of time to enter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like when a distiller supports environmental causes. To me, it sort of makes the full circle. We've got grain to glass distilleries and things like that, and so giving back to organizations that are helping our environment just seems like a natural fit. And $1 million is a lot of money. They've already donated that much, in the past, and so I think what they're trying to do with bringing on Luke Grimes as a spokesperson is make that even bigger, right? Be able to donate even more to protecting the environment. And
they've been doing this for the environmental. Mm-hmm. That's been part of their business model.
Almost from the start.
Yeah, I don't know when it started. It could certainly have been from the start, but it's been for a long time either way. So, again, not like they're just something pulling out of the air. This is something they truly believe in, and they've been doing. So to make it more successful, that's great.
Yep. Kudos to High West.
Yep.
So go buy a bottle.
All right, well, let's just take a moment to speak about what we're drinking here. So this is Old Elk's Cognac Cask Finish Wheat Whiskey, and it is 95 proof. And from Old Elk, which we've discussed fairly recently on this.
Right, being acquired by Middle West Spirits. So,
right.
So it's certainly I like it. It's I get the raisiny, grapey, cognac finish hits me on the palate pretty strongly. It's got a nice peppery spice on the palate too, which I don't always expect in a wheated whiskey.
And it's got a nice body to it, which I think, once again, we seem to be having a lot of wheat whiskeys we talk about these days. But just, folks, throw out of your mind that everybody tells you that wheat is flavorless, light, and soft, because it can be, probably in small quantities, but when you start having significant amounts of it, it brings plenty of flavor, plenty of body, and can bring plenty of spice. And so this is another one. I mean, it's got very nice flavors, and I think it's very nicely complemented by the cognac.
Cognac, yeah. I agree. It's like it does bring a sweetness, a fruitiness, but that just gets accentuated by that cognac and
right, because the wheat does often get that fruitiness to it. It definitely brings that. So yeah, I think it goes. It's very good,
and I agree with you for 95 proof. The viscosity, the mouth feels really nice.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit to it. So, well, we're not doing a full review now, and in fact, I believe there's a full review on bourbonobsessed.com, and I'll edit this out if that doesn't turn out to be the case, because I will double check. But it was a while ago that I reviewed it, if indeed I did, but I'm pretty sure I did.
And when Ed reviewed it earlier, it's still a good pour. It hasn't changed in the bottle, even though it's been there for a while. So good stuff.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to our next story. So Heaven Hill Brands has unveiled its refreshed corporate brand and officially opened its new 48,000 square foot corporate office at 815 North Whittington Parkway in Louisville, Kentucky. The ribbon cutting was attended by company leadership, employees, and Mayor Craig Greenberg. The updated identity, centered on the new tagline, Thriving Together, is now live across company channels, including the relaunched heavenhill.com. The new space unites Heaven Hill's Louisville teams under one roof and features over 150 workspaces, a 2-story cafe, flexible gathering areas, a new product development zone, and Max's Place, a tasting bar named for Executive Chairman Max Shapira. Heaven Hill was also named a U.S. Best Managed Company for the second year by Deloitte,
and
Private, and the Wall Street Journal.
Cool.
There's always going to be something I pronounce wrong.
That's a great honor to have that 2 years in a row. That speaks volumes about the company. I looked at, for lack of a better term, just a promo video. It's about a 5-minute video. And they have people from all over the company, everything from finance to operations to marketing, all talking about how, obviously it's the thriving together concept, but how they all rely on each other and work with each other, and how that is fostered and, for lack of a better term, fermented, no pun intended, in their organization. And I think that's really cool. That's sort of the epitome of the bourbon world. Is we're sort of all in this together. We're not trying to outcompete. We're just doing what we do, which is make good whiskey, and Heaven Hill certainly does that.
Yeah, I think it's got to just be better for everybody to be under one in one place, and then when they go hang out in Max's place and taste everything.
I was gonna, I tried to see if Max's place was going to be open to the public, but I'm going to guess it's not.
Yeah,
this is sort of corporate headquarters, and be a great way to end the day, right? Let's just go down and
start it like in the olden days.
Could do that. Yeah. Give me a raw egg with this,
Drink responsibly, folks.
Whether you're drinking in the morning, afternoon, or evening, drink responsibly.
Yes.
That's right, yes. So,
moving on. So, LifeSciKY, it's all one word, LifeSciKY, a Covington-based nonprofit lab incubator, has teamed up with New Riff Distilling to release a 4-year-old barrel-proof New Riff single-barrel bourbon celebrating Kentucky's scientific legacy. The limited release supports LifeSciKY's mission of providing affordable lab space and equipment to early-stage biotech companies. Each $100 bottle helps fund a new lab bench at their upcoming 15,000-square-foot facility in the 1 NKY Center. Pre-orders are open through July 18th. You can get that link on the New Riff website as well, or I think it's also at LifeSci Kentucky and my newsletter, because this is a long one, with bottle pickup beginning September 12th.
Again, we've got a distillery supporting local efforts and scientific efforts, which is wonderful. This is going to help startup companies. As I understand it, this is like a lab that startups can use, so you don't have to go build your own lab. You get to, it's sort of like a commercial kitchen, right? That
for biotech. Which is pretty. I guess I don't know enough about this, but I had not heard about one of these kind of things. Although, I don't know. But
I haven't either.
Certainly not around here that I'm familiar with.
It makes sense, and it would make sense here in Lexington with all the biotech stuff that's here. It's got to be expensive to outfit a lab, but
Northern Kentucky's. It's growing. Plus, it's basically the Cincinnati metropolitan area. Yeah. So,
and Covington Covington had a huge IRS building that they raised, and they're doing a wonderful, I think, combination. I think Northern Kentucky University is going to have a campus there, and there's some other business interests, and I think this is part of that. There's going to be a whole help. It's already been rejuvenated a whole lot in Covington, but it's just going to sort of accelerate that.
And there's always, there's still a whole bunch of things being built there. It's every time. It makes it difficult to get to New Riff.
It does, I know.
But we see these things every time we go up there.
It's always do I go straight through town or do I go around? Which one's faster today?
Well, it's almost always faster to go to Cincinnati and come back out, which is what is weird. You would not think that would be the case.
So. No.
Especially with all the bridge issues that we have around there.
I couldn't see what the proof point was going to be on this, and maybe it's not determined. And I also got the impression just one barrel, but that the people at LifeSci Kentucky did pick the barrel, so that's sort of cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't have... It is just a single barrel that's going to be limited release, and I normally wouldn't talk about it, but I did talk about it because it's got this incubator for biotech, which I thought was a good cause and made it newsworthy.
Exactly. Your editorial choices are excellent.
Thank you. Your check's in the mail. I heard last.
But it's not as much as a postage stamp. So anyway.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, those have gone up.
They have, right? That's what I'm saying.
I'll just give you the stamp.
Okay.
All right.
What else we got? Let's talk about, you want to hear us. I want to hear about bourbon.
All right, so this is our last story. So Maker's Mark and the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation, the LADF, have partnered to release Maker's Mark Champion Selection by Los Angeles Dodgers, a private selection bourbon commemorating the team's 2024 World Series win. The first barrel, which is approximately 275 bottles, has been donated by Maker's Mark to the LADF for charitable auctions and events supporting wildfire relief and recovery in Los Angeles. Fans can obtain bottles by either donating $500 or more to the LADF during home games at the LADF home base store, which I assume is something that's in the stadium.
I think that's at the stadium. I got that impression.
I've not been there myself. While supplies last, or by participating in an online auction at MLB.com from June 25th to July 7th, so that way's not going to work.
It's already
now.
over.
So it's going to
be
the
$500, folks.
And so that's just the first barrel. So that's going to be for charitable causes. That's what, again, got it into our newsletter here. But for anybody else, well, I mean, I guess it's still news. Anybody else who wants the championship bottles, they're also going to be available at select retailers across greater Los Angeles. And this one's bottled at 112.1 proof and priced at a suggested retail price of $74.99.
Nice proof point, nice price point. It's got blue wax instead of red because that's the Dodgers color. It's Dodger blue. So, and folks in this area may know that one of the people who helped the Dodgers win the World Series last year is a gentleman named Walker Buehler who pitched for them. He went to Henry Clay High School here in Lexington, and he was an all-star, like in 2019 and 2021. He unfortunately had 2 Tommy John surgeries. He was a pitcher. And even more unfortunate, he's not with the Dodgers any longer. He signed a $20 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. So
that is unfortunate.
My heart goes out to Walker. We should get him a bottle of this.
He can buy his own bottle.
Yeah, but if he would plug us,
Well, true.
I'll spend the $75 and get But anyway, so there's a hometown connection, or there used to be between Lexington and the Dodgers, and so I don't think you'll find a bottle of this around here. If you got friends in LA, maybe they can find a bottle for you.
Well, I assume it'll wind up at online retailers like everything.
Sure,
does.
Yeah.
But maybe not for $74.99.
Undoubtedly not.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that about does it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Bourbon Obsessed Bourbon and Distillery News Podcast, your commercial-free and therefore money-free bourbon podcast. Be sure to join us next Monday for our new Bourbon Releases podcast. And as we've said, that's going to be
a
big one. We have 21 already, and we'll be adding some on this week, although I'm only taking submissions until Tuesday because it is my birthday weekend. There's a lot planned for later on, so there's that. Also, be sure to like and follow us at your preferred podcast provider so that you don't miss an episode, and don't forget to tell all of your friends, too. You can also head over to bourbonobsessed.com to check out some of our over 350 bourbon reviews and over 50 distillery write-ups. While you are there, you can also sign up to have my newsletters delivered directly to your inbox. Finally, I can also be found on Instagram at Bourbon_Obsessed and on Facebook at Bourbon Obsessed, and would love for you to follow me there as well. Dean, where can they find you?
Folks can find me on Instagram at Dean of Bourbon with underscores, and I went to a tasting this week. You can see pics of what I was able to taste, which were some nice, tasty pours. And if you've listened this long, you're going to have to suffer through one quick shout-out, which is next Saturday, if you're in the Lexington area. There's something called the Concours d'Elegance out at Keeneland. It benefits UK Children's Hospital. If you're not doing anything Saturday, come out and look at some amazing cars. Some of these cars are worth $1 million. So, and now I'm done.
And
Thanks,
what is your relationship to that?
I am a judge at Concours. I actually get to judge a class of these cars on their condition and their authenticity. People, you would not believe how people treat these cars. They're their babies, and they spend hours and hours and
well, probably not quite as well as
so
people treat their horses.
You might be surprised.
Do they have their own airline for them?
I don't know about an airline, but they trailer them. They don't drive them here. They put them in a trailer and haul them down, and some of them. Anyway, they're beautiful cars. Come out and see it.
Yeah,
if you're.
Sounds
if
great.
You're
I've never made it out there.
It's really really nice. It'll be a little bit cooler. It'll be just 85.
Thanks for taking care of that part. All right, folks. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Cheers.